Welcome to this explainer. Today we are stepping straight into a grim, dark, gothic fable of absolute cosmic proportions. We're going to unpack a really dense, Nietzschean landscape to weigh the crushing weight of absolute nihilism against the painful burning spark of self-awareness. It's time to strip away polite society and see what actually hides in the dark.
Let's kick things off with a pretty chilling worldview from a figure known as the Sapphire Prophet. He says, "Blissful ignorance is the only mercy this universe ever offered us." Think about that for a second. To this cosmic, nihilistic figure, the universe is just terrifyingly indifferent. Because of that, he firmly believes the only true mercy is simply closing your eyes to the void.
So, the universe basically presents two agonizing paths here. On one side, we have the prophet offering an upward escape into a cold, punchlineless void. It's total, numb detachment. But on the other side, the uncanny jester flat out refuses to look up. He looks down. He chooses a brutal descent into fiery, undeniable truth. It's the ultimate battle, right? Comfortable entropy versus painful reality.
Now you might be wondering, if nothingness is truly painless, why on earth would anyone choose to go digging into the wound of human failure? Why choose the burning ember of reality over the peaceful, icy geometry of the prophet's void? Well, the jester is driven by a very specific, intense philosophical force. And that drive is called the demonic. Now really quick, don't confuse this with the diabolic or pure evil. In Nietzschean philosophy, the demonic is this irresistible, super-rational force of nature. It operates entirely outside of our neat little boxes of human morality, and its whole purpose is to tear apart societal illusions and expose the rot underneath. Driven by the silence of heaven, the prophet is actively trying to seal away defended hearts. He actually views self-awareness not as some great enlightenment, but as the ultimate cruelty. His solution to human suffering? Build an architecture of ice. He'd rather let humanity freeze and fall asleep than face the raw, burning radiance of reality.
But you see, the prophet's cold void doesn't go unchallenged. It runs right into the pale inquisitor. Think of him as the literal embodiment of the Nietzschean shadow. He is the heavy, accumulated rot of all those uncomfortable, unspoken truths that you and I try to politely ignore. He's literally everything the icy void refuses to acknowledge.
So it really comes down to a clash of methods. The prophet relies on sapphire lines, clean, perfect geometry to seal the soul away from pain forever. But the jester? He wields the geometry of the grotesque. He uses a dark refraction that purposefully reaches into those cold, defended interiors, completely shattering the ice to let the terrifying truth flood in. The jester systematically goes to work stripping away the polite performances we all put on. He targets what we can call the arithmetic of grief, exposing how we often just perform sadness. He unmasks the logic of greed, dressed up as nobility, and he completely shatters the muscle memory of faith and the theology of safety that institutions build just to hide their own internal voids.
How does he do it? It's rooted in the Fichtean dialectic, which is really just a philosophical way of saying that society can only truly know what it is by facing exactly what it isn't. The jester basically becomes this not self-made flesh. He acts as a dark, twisted mirror, forcing the kingdom to finally look at its own manufactured, hollow reality. His specific method for this is the uncanny synthesis, and let me tell you, it is absolutely not meant to bring peace. By catching the heat of the cosmic forge and the freezing spray of the absolute pit at the exact same time, the jester makes our cozy, homegrown comforts feel terrifyingly strange. He deliberately makes the world unhomely to shock us into seeing the hidden rot. Which brings us to this incredible realization from the jester. He says, "I am not the source of the light, but the angle at which it falls." He realizes he isn't the absolute truth, he's just the instrument. He is merely the angle that directs the great star's unconditional light into our most locked-down, defended rooms. Direct light just bounces off a defended heart, but his dark refraction slips right through the cracks. This dark refraction plays out in three distinct dances. First, he shows up as the monster, mocking our hollow ceremonies of grief. Then, he becomes the gilded fool, directly mirroring the unchecked secret appetites of the elite. And finally, as the madman, he disrupts our very temples of commerce, amplifying the madness until we literally cannot look away. So unlike the prophet's frozen bliss, the jester champions this really fascinating concept, the ember of discomfort. It's like an internal sun you're given at your very first breath.
your literal capacity to feel the cold. I know it sounds paradoxical, but feeling cold is actually the only proof you have that your soul isn't a dead facade. The very pain of the discomfort proves you are still spiritually alive.
Now, once all the masks are finally stripped away and those mirrors are shattered, the jester's role completely shifts. He transitions from this mocking monster into the Vigil, a silent witness. He holds the sacred space in the quiet aftermath, just watching, as you are finally forced to make a naked, moral choice without all your societal armor.
And in stark contrast to the prophet's empty, nihilistic cathedral, the jester discovers that true holiness actually exists right here in gritty bodily reality. The body isn't just some vessel we have to endure. It's the specific meeting place of the human and the holy. Knowing actual physical cold and hunger is how the spirit actually touches the reality of the world.
This entire fable is really showing us an inverted journey. It tells us that true existential elevation, it's never actually achieved by climbing upward towards some manufactured, heroic glory. Instead, you have to reject the climb entirely. You have to walk downward into the 10,000 hells of your own making just to find absolute honesty.
And even the jester is absolutely terrified of this downward climb. He knows that by unmasking the world, he eventually has to unmask himself, risking the discovery of his own emptiness at the bottom. But driven by that demonic force and a sacred debt of honesty, he basically says, I don't know what's down there, but I'm going anyway.
So, we arrive at the final cosmic crossroads of our fable. The choice is yours. Do you follow the Sapphire Prophet on this cowardly, cold descent into absolute nothingness and denial? Or do you follow the uncanny jester on a brutal, dark descent right into the unsaid rooms of human truth? It's the ice or the ember.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you staring into your own void with a pretty heavy question. When the ceremonies of your life finally stop and all those polite masks are stripped away, what actually remains in the unsaid rooms of your soul? Do you have the courage to tend to that burning ember, or will you just surrender to the silence of the ice? Thank you so much for descending into the uncanny with me today.